Hello, Rodney. Thanks for clicking my video. I'll tell you something that happens to me. This is, you're not gonna, well, you'll believe it because it's just the way it is. But it's beautiful out right now, and so I was gonna go for a walk. So I was in the process of me getting ready to go for a walk. I'm looking for my shoes now. To go for a walk, I decided that instead of going for a walk, I would go to the store because I got to go to the grocery store. So I said, well, I'm going to go to, I'll get out of these sweatpants that I've been wearing and just put on some regular pants and go to the grocery store. So I put on my regular pants and I go back into my studio to sit down to change into my walking shoes. And I'm getting ready to change them. I go, what am I doing? I don't want to go walking in my pants. I have to put on, and then it dawns on me. I changed my mind. I'm not going to go walking. I'm going to go to the store. I mean, I don't know what that means, but I don't know. I guess it means this is, I guess, the definition of what would be considered at some point in the history of colloquial terms. I can't even remember what it is now that I just got through thinking about. Scatterbrained. Oh boy. Good morning. Or afternoon. Well, afternoon, 1:30. 71 degrees. So things have changed here dramatically as far as temperature and everything. And this morning I went to go get some, I was on my way to the store to get some, the grocery store. This is what happens when the sun comes out. It's just gone. So I go to I'm on my way to the grocery store. So naturally, I get down the road and I think, let me see how much. I didn't have enough money with me. Now, why didn't I check for that when I left? Before I left? Well, it's a good question. So okay, because I'm only about a mile away from home, so I'll go home. So when the sun comes out and the sun starts to melt everything off, my yard turns into a slip and slide. It's a giant slip and slide, my driveway, So I'm slipping and sliding coming up my driveway and I get stuck. I don't get stuck, I just can't go any further because I'm in two-wheel drive. So I shifted into four-wheel drive and go up the hill, get everything I need, start back, and then I go to, as soon as I get out of that situation where I'm on the slip and slide, I go to put my vehicle from four-wheel drive back into two-wheel drive. And it won't go, it's stuck. My four-wheel drive is stuck. It's stuck in four-wheel drive low, which means I can only go about 35 miles an hour. And I'm stuck in 35 mile an hour gear. So now I'm freaking out. Because I don't know how to do anything. I'm totally freaking out, So go and talk to a buddy of mine who knows about this kind of stuff. He says it's just like he didn't know how to fix it, but he knew that it could be a solenoid, which basically that something to do with solenoid. I don't even know what that is. Something to do with a switch or some shit, And so the switch, something to do with the switch that you turn. So that's a good thing because, and he said, because usually transmissions don't just go like that. So that's good. So it made me feel good. It's the switch. So now I'm confident it's the switch. So I get down there to the location where my mechanic is, the guy that did the work on my car the last. He was a nice person, and they're closed. I'm going, closed? Oh man. Now what? My mechanic's out of business. So the buddy that told me that it was a solenoid told me about his mechanic because it's down a little bit, down the street a little bit. So I said, okay, I'll just go over there then. So I just drove to the new place, the second place, and they're freaking closed. And then I look at the sign, and then I see a guy standing over there. I said, sir, is today Sunday? He says, yeah. Okay, thank you. It's Sunday. Sunday. So I took a 35-mile-an-hour trip down there, and now everything's closed, so I'm going to have to go back. So I thought, well, I'm pretty close to the flea market. Go to the flea market and talk to Rocky, because Rocky knows a lot about mechanical stuff. You know, I'll see what he says, because I know he works on cars and stuff. And so I was going to walk. I was going to go down to see Rocky, and then on the way down there, I see this mechanic shop. I said, well, I'll just pull in there, you know. And it's a guy at the desk. He says, well, the owner's not here. And I explained to him what's going on. He says, oh, we had somebody come in with that yesterday or whatever. So they've done the same thing already twice before doing it to my vehicle today. So the guy wasn't there. He was out on a call or something. And anyway, I waited around, and he came back. And he goes out and gets in my vehicle and puts it on a level ground and backs it up and puts it in neutral and does some stuff. It was releasing, doing something anyway, perfectly fine now. I fixed it. So I gave him, so I was very, very appreciative of that. Very appreciative. I said, how much do I owe you? He says, oh, you don't owe me anything, you know. Took him like about literally a minute to do it. And so I said, well, I'm a new customer. I'm a new customer. Because everyone was so cool and very nice to me there. And so, and they were doing stuff in the back. This guy that does this has a shop. He's working on a 1940 automobile. He does refurbishing. They originally made that shop there to work on hot rods and stuff like custom cars and stuff. And I guess they didn't make enough money doing that, so they had to open up for regular mechanic stuff. So I was in the back talking to this one guy before the owner came back, and he was a painter. They were getting ready to paint the speedboat and all kinds of stuff. They had cool stuff there. And so anyway, the owner comes in and fixes the car. So then I get some pieces of jewelry, 3 pieces of jewelry, one for him and his 2 guys that work there. And so I gave it to him, and there was this person there with her hand out like that. That's the kid's daughter. So they had to go get another piece for the guy's wife. So I gave him that. And now, so that worked out fine. That's the end of that story. That worked out great, thank God. And I gave the guy a reference to my buddy that was telling me about the solenoid thing, and so now he knows how to do that. He knows how to do that trick. Well, he knows how to do the trick based on what I told him, which is put it on a level ground and do some stuff back and forth, and it'll work, you know, whatever that means. Because my mind's not fucking working very good. But anyway, while I was in there, it was really nice because, and I don't know if the guy did it because I have gray hair or whatever, but they have a big couch in the waiting area of this mechanic shop. And there are these 2 guys sitting on the couch, and I go in, and so I go to get a seat, and there's these 2 little chairs sitting over the side, and the one guy says to me, oh, you know, he goes to get up where he's sitting because he's sitting in a really cushy place, and I said, oh no, he's a young guy. I said, oh no, please, you know, I'm not taking that guy's seat, you know. And so anyway, he sits down, and I could tell these guys are Mexicans, and actually were American citizen. He was born here, but he's in his 20s, and you grow up in a place like this, you can recognize people from Mexico. People from Mexico look different than Mexican Americans. They look different. It's a different trip. You know, it could be a subtle difference, and sometimes it could be so much as just the clothes they wear, the hat, all kinds of stuff. You know, like when I was living in L.A., the difference between Mexicans and El Salvadorans to me was the way the El Salvadorans had their hair cut. So anyway, these 2 guys, and these guys are from Washington State. They live in Washington State up by the Canadian border, and they work on a dairy farm. And they on their way to visit their relatives for a family get-together in Dallas. So instead of flying, they decided to drive. They drove through all kinds of snow coming down from Washington through Utah and Colorado, and Mexico and stuff. So I mean, they're, you know, and so anyway, their truck breaks down, and they're at the same mechanic shop as I am. So we're shooting the bull. I'm shooting the bull with these two guys, very friendly, nice guys, you know, really sweet guys. They're talking about stuff, and then the mechanic guys comes in and they start talking about hunting and all kinds of stuff, and it was just a nice experience. So anyway, those two guys that go outside and they're just hanging out because they're bored, and so the owner comes in and I go out and he does the thing. And then that was great. So I'm feeling great that it was just such a nice thing. I didn't have to pay a lot of money and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, I could have paid the money easily if I would have had some subscribers that would send me something. They didn't know I sent me any shit. So these guys, these two guys from Washington, are standing out there. And I said, hey man, what's because they were talking about getting a rent-a-car and going on to Dallas and visiting their relatives and then driving back and picking their truck up on the way back. And I said, well, how are you going to get to Albuquerque? He says, well, we were just thinking about that. So I volunteered to take them to Albuquerque. So I gave them my phone number and everything. And so if they call, I'm going to go take those guys to Albuquerque. Because this, you know, I mean, when you're, especially you're in some place where you don't know anybody, you know, and you're freaking stuck and your truck's screwed up and you've got, you know, and then Albuquerque from where that is about, far as it's 40 miles or something like that. So I'm gonna, if they call, I'll go pick them up and take them to Albuquerque. And they'll, you know, that'll be a nice little highlight for their vacation experience. That, you know, somebody, you know, voluntarily gave them a free ride to Albuquerque. So, you know, I'm just ecstatic that the thing wasn't, because you know stuff like that, like transmissions, man, that stuff could go into a lot of money. I had to spend a lot of money on the transmission when I first bought that vehicle after a little while because they're notorious for going out, but it's been a great vehicle. I can't complain about that vehicle. So I'm back home and I didn't go to the grocery store, so I don't have any potatoes, and so I guess either I'll go to the grocery store later or I will just wait till tomorrow. I think probably I'm just going to stay home for the rest of the day. That was too much excitement for one day for me. So other than taking those guys to Albuquerque, I'm not leaving the house until tomorrow. So that was a nice little adventure, you know. And I really don't want to drive to Albuquerque, but if they call, man, I'll be there with a smile on my face to take those guys, because it's, you know, I mean, that'll be a, you know, that because the nice thing about stuff like that is that it translates into other people doing things for other people. I mean, all that stuff comes back. I mean, so many people have done so many things for me. You know, every time you get a chance, I mean, you got to try to do something for somebody else. I mean, if you can. I mean, don't go out of your way to do something if you can't freaking do it, if you can't pull it off. But, I mean, taking a couple of guys to Albuquerque, fuck, I can do that. You know, I can't fix a solenoid, but I can take a couple of guys to Albuquerque. Okay, I'm Ella Rodney. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.